Welcome.
Are we live? Are we live? This thing's still spinning right here. Who knows? Oh, okay. Here we go. Ah, we're here. All right. Awesome. I have no idea how this really works, but we're just going to go with it.
We're going to go with it.
Yeah.
Okay. It works.
We'll see what happens. So hi everyone. We're here. Looks like just waiting for some people, I guess, to join in if they'd like. So for those of you who are tuning in, welcome, and for those who join us, welcome. So
let us know you're here.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about? So many things.
So many things. So Dina and I spend a lot of time talking, like at work. You know, we spend a lot of time talking about just everything that's happening in the world, and you know, all the things that are going on. We do a lot of processing. You know, people ask us all the time, like, how do you do the work that you do at SARA and every day? And it's mostly because we have to. I guess it's because we lean on each other.
Absolutely.
So
everybody at SARA leans on each other.
Yeah.
Got a good team.
Yeah, definitely. So I thought it might be cool to start coming live and talking a little bit about things that are really hard to talk about. You know, sexual assault's a hard topic. It's difficult to talk about. It's uncomfortable for people to talk about. And we find that a lot of people, you know, will have a lot of questions, or they're really, you know, they want to help and they want to do something, but they're not really sure what to do. And so we thought, you know, why don't we just start going online, winging it? That's what we're doing. We're just winging this. We have no plan. Just hit live and, you know, see what happens. But you know, just an opportunity to just have some really real conversation, you know, and just kind of validate the fact that this stuff is hard. These topics are hard, and the conversations can be challenging and difficult. And most people, I think a lot of us will look at, you know, other people and say, oh, I wish I could do what they do. Right. But the reality is that, you know, survivors, they just need to be heard. Right. It's really what it comes down to. So,
and everybody's been impacted by sexual assault, even though we don't like to say that. Mm-hmm. So we can look different when you see me or Laura or any of our people kind of standing in front of a crowd with our polished little PowerPoints or our you know, 3 points before we leave today. But every person has been impacted, and so we thought it might be helpful to just kind of process what it's like when it hits you on a personal level. You know, when you have a friend disclose that she or he has been sexually assaulted, because that kind of takes you out of your academic brain, and then your heart gets involved, and we want to take that stigma away for survivors. And I think the more comfortable we are just having conversations, it makes it easier. And we want survivors to be heard, and we want them to be supported. And so we don't want you to feel that you can't do that. You absolutely can. So we thought, let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
So, let us hear from you. If you've got questions, please type them in. We'll watch and try to answer as many as we can. And we're gonna just take it from there, Laura.
See what happens. So Dina, let's start right there. So what, if like you mentioned, like we're in this very, like, as professionals, like we do this, you know, we're very used to disclosures, and we're very used to people that we work with disclosing, you know, but like you said, like, it's a little bit different when somebody I'm close to, like a friend of mine, a loved one, a family member, discloses their experience with sexual violence. And so how is that different? You know, even for us as advocates, how is that different when someone we love and care about and we see on a regular basis and spend personal time with? What is that like?
For me, I think that, you know, in the professional sense, you kind of got a script in your mind, and you kind of know what to say. But I think we're afraid that on a personal level we may forget the script. And that's what I'm kind of hoping we'll do today, is that anybody who has someone this close to them will understand it's not so much about the words we've been trained, good Laura trained me, what Laura trained me to say.
We train each other.
Because, I mean, I've been working with people for a really long time, and no matter how well you're trained, when it's personal, or it just becomes very personal when that person is trusting you with that secret. Any secret is sacred, and that the sexual assault secret is the one that I think hits every woman on a different level. I remember the first time a child disclosed to me 1,000 years ago, and I remember it felt like all the air got sucked out of the room. Before she even started, I just knew she was going to tell me something really, really bad. And for me, this was the first time that my training needed to kick in. And I hope I said the right words. I mean, I think when a person decides you're safe to tell, then I'm not sure that the order of the words matters so much as your heart.
Yeah.
You know, what your intention is. So,
yeah, just being able to show up and be present and recognizing that, you know, we live in a really busy time, we live in a really busy world, and there's a habit to, when things get uncomfortable, kind of shove them away,
Right.
or go, oh, you know, I don't, you know, to kind of half listen, and I think that in a lot of ways that is sometimes a way that we protect ourselves.
Sure.
Like if I'm too busy to deal with this, or you know, this is uncomfortable, so you're like, I'm gonna do what I can, but you know, I've got to go, or I've got this to do, I've got that to do, and so it keeps us from having to be vulnerable and worry about, you know, holding that space for people. But it's hard. It's really hard, especially when somebody that we know and love and care about comes to us and says, you know, this happened to me, and I know for me, you know, as a professional, like I'm, like you said, like it's sort of like I have this, you know, I have very clear boundaries, and I know what, you know, what I need to do, and there's sort of an order and a process to things, and there's the ability to provide information and resources and that sort of thing for callers and for clients. But you know, a friend telling me that, I go into, like, my tendency is to want to go into fix-it mode.
Right.
Like I want to fix this. I don't want them to be in pain. I don't want them to be uncomfortable. You know, so for me, I tend to want to go into fix-it mode, and so it can be really hard to take a step back and just let them breathe and let them have the space that they need to talk about their experience without jumping into that. I think my fix-it mode can almost mimic advocacy mode with personal, with friends, because then I start going, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and you know, all of these things. And so, whereas with clients, it's more of a, this is what's available to you, and so it can be very different.
Well, let's unpack the being present thing. I think what you said was a really good point, that we're really busy. There's a lot of things going on, just in general, even without the pandemic and the racial unrest right now. So even on a normal day, it is difficult to just be present. So tell us a little bit more about what being present could look like.
I think being present looks different for everybody, but really being present means just being in your space, being in your, being present in your own body, and really being connected and engaged with the person in front of you. So for me, it's really taking a moment to settle into my own body. And sometimes it's even like, you know, I even have to mentally tell myself, take a breath and settle. Like feel your feet on the ground, feel my feet on the ground, and listen to what this person's having to say, and then really focus on what they're saying. And as cheesy as it might sound to a lot of people, honestly, I think the most important thing is listening with the heart. Listening with heart rather than listening with the brain. I start listening with the brain, I start going into fix-it mode, and oh my gosh, I start trying to figure out like how I need to respond to this person. Oh my gosh, what do they need? What do they need to hear? Rather than when I listen with my heart and really just connect with, you know, put that attention in my own heart and hear what they have to say. I really hear what they have to say and let them guide me as the person they trusted to help them.
I think that's good. I think that Laura makes a really good point. We are not often present even with ourselves. So when we hear someone say something that's so awful, we, like she said, our brains kind of go to what do we do with this? What do we do with this? And so we want to remind you that you do have it within you to be present and to be quiet and to be still. Plus, the person who's coming to already knows that they have been traumatized and they have been victimized. They're bringing you a gift, and even though it doesn't feel like it in the moment, it really is. And one of the things that I have to remind myself is it's not about me in this moment. So my needs, my comfort are not what's important or here. What's paramount is that this person feels safe with me. And I think that I'd love it if we could just slow our whole world down and hear each other again and get that rhythm of our heart again. And I know that for some of us it sounds really woo-woo and out there, but really I think especially when we have to get back to ourselves and connecting heart to heart, there's so much healing that needs to happen in our whole world that when someone's giving you the gift of that secret, to let that be what like Laura says, let that guide you. And sometimes it looks like silence. And I'm a talker, so I have to almost like take pills and lay down to keep from talking, you know? And so having that silent stretch past the point where it's comfortable.
Yeah.
And let them fill the space with themselves and with their, and to remember that, you know, they made their way to you. They are absolutely capable of getting to the next part of the journey. And I just keep going to the word gift. It is such an honor for somebody to need you to hold that space with them. And I mean, you know, I unfortunately, and Laura can attest to this as well, we've had way too many people have to come and bring that to us. And sexual assault is one of the ones that just, you know, it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. It hurts you in a place that is very difficult to articulate. But for every person that we had the honor of sitting with, we know that we were part of the good that happened for them on their way to healing. And so that's why I'm saying you can do this. I mean, we can do this for each other. So, yeah, it sounds scary and it'll feel scary. And what would you recommend after a person has sat with that pain? What would you recommend they do for self-care?
Self-care, that's a big one. So I think, you know, self-care has gotten this reputation, so to speak, of as this very luxurious, go to a yoga class, go have a massage, go get your nails done kind of thing. And those things can definitely be part of a self-care plan. But self-care really is about, at least from my perspective and what, you know, I train my volunteers, which a few of them are online, so hey, Amy and Cherokee, nice to see you. So we talk a lot about the importance of being very clear with our own boundaries and what those look like, and getting to know our own boundaries. And so self-care, from our perspective, and from my perspective, is really being clear about what my limits are. I mean, and we, I think here at SARA, I think we do a pretty good job of practicing what we preach. And that, you know, there are days, I mean, I think I came in one day last week and I was like, I cannot people today. And, you know, it was sort of tongue in cheek, you know, and to some, because it was just a really bad drive to work. It was you know, but it was like, I need a minute. Like my system was a little chaotic, you know, because I had come upon several, you know, frustrating experiences on the road and, you know, being cut off and all of that. And so there's just that moment where I was like, I can't even talk about anything right now because I need to take 5 breaths just so that I can arrive at work. My body is here, but my brain has not come in yet. So just being able to identify that, and that really takes practice. You know, it's taken me a long time to learn.
She said long time. I have shoes older than Laura. Okay, so whatever with that. Okay. Anyway, she made a really good point. But I mean, real talk. This is what this is, right? Real talk.
Yes.
How often do we as women need to give ourselves permission to know what our limits are?
Yeah. Oh, Oh, like that's a whole nother real talk conversation, really.
Yeah, right. I mean, seriously, even giving ourselves permission to go get help, or to sit and be quiet, or to take 5 breaths before I transfer into professional mode. We don't even give ourselves permission to have that. And if we were raised by people who were like, you just keep going until you pass out, then that self-care thing becomes a bad phrase, a bad word, curse word almost. But, self-care can look as simple as I just need to say something to somebody before I turn on my computer and start my day. I need 5 minutes to not talk to anybody. I mean, it can be that simple. Because I don't know how you're supposed to know what your limits are if you've never, I want to say been given permission, but really I think as grown women, I'm not a cuss, Laura. As grown women.
We get mouthy up in here, so we can't promise that this is ever going to be like a rated
G13 version, so. I think our executive director might be watching. I'm gonna be good. But if you feel like you were not given permission, okay, as a child, as an adolescent, even maybe early 20s, because you were dependent on people to help you grow, then when do you make that switch to I set my life, I set my intention, I set my limits? And sometimes it is a messy, nasty process. I mean, I've had to figure out cussing everybody out is not necessarily how we want to make our limits known. So I cuss a little bit. I still cuss a little bit. Yes, I do a little bit. I'm just going to put it out there. I have to really work at it. But
I think it's really because you're human.
Yeah.
I think it's totally allowed to be human.
And don't get me started on being a black female human. Girl, we're here all day, okay, if we do this.
That is real talk.
Yeah. And it's interesting, I think that's one of the equalizers that, sometimes as women we have these ideas of what it means to be a real grown-up woman, so you get that big ass slapped on your chest, you got your cake, we're gonna do this. And some days it's like, I don't feel like it.
There's a lot of strength in recognizing when we've hit our limits. We've reached our limits, and when it comes to holding space for somebody else, somebody that we care about, trying to find that balance between being a support system for them, being helpful to them, being present for them, and also taking care of yourself or being present for yourself. And I've said this so many times over the years to so many people, but we really do, we have it so backwards, and we've had it backwards for so long that, I have to take care of everybody else, and then I'll take care of me when I have time. But it really works the other way around. It's I need to take care of myself so that I can show up and help this person, so that I can be there for this person. So I think that's a really big piece of it. So, really sitting down and recognizing what do I need to do to take care of myself physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, to really stay connected to me, to myself, to the self, and that is it's not something that most of us are taught growing up. It's just not it's a skill set. It really is a skill set that needs to be learned and developed, and it never ends. It constantly evolves. So we don't get to just say, okay, here's my plan, and then shove it in a drawer somewhere and go, right. No, it's every day. It's every day. How are we checking in with ourselves every day? So that when those situations where my friend comes and says, I was sexually assaulted last night, I don't know what to do, I can actually be present with them. I can actually do what needs to be done.
And you can think. That's higher level thinking. And you've taken good enough care of yourself that the executive thinker takes over while you sit, while you hold, while you do whatever. But the thinker is going, okay, when she's ready, we can maybe find some resources. I don't know yet. But right now, I'm present because I'm not all over the place because this feels so bad, and it will. But I like that. So I think that's great. So after you've been there for someone, even if you pick up the phone and call us and just say, I just had a heavy night last night. I had someone disclose to me, and I just need some support. Well, we do that. We absolutely do that. then it's not cheating to get some help so you can go back and take care of your friend. Because sometimes your friend's not going to want to come talk to us, you know, and that's their right. And, you know, getting the support you need so that you can continue to show up is absolutely appropriate, and we encourage that.
Yeah.
We encourage that. So.
That's a great point, is that we don't have to do this alone. I don't do this work alone. Dina doesn't do this work alone. None of us does this work alone. I mean, anybody who can do it alone, I'd love to talk to you because it's a lot. It gets really heavy. But I think that's the biggest piece, is that recognizing that, you know, when you're supporting someone that you love and care about, you don't have to do it alone. You know, you really are. That's what we're here for. We're here to support not just people who are directly impacted by a sexually violent experience or any violent experience, but people who are impacted around them, parents, friends, relatives, teammates, coworkers, you name it. I mean, we get phone calls from people with all sorts, you know, with connections to all sorts, in all sorts of ways. And you know, many times they just need to process, like, this just got laid on me last night and I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
You know, and that's understandable. So
That's right. What are some of the reasons that people might be reluctant to tell anybody? Let's talk about that a little bit. You know, we were talking about this privilege and this honor, but there's a lot of people carrying this kind of, is
it really safe for me to
right.
Yeah.
So just in this day and age, why, you know, just talk a little bit about why a woman or a man, well, let's start with that, anybody would be reluctant to share that assault.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a, you know, something that we hear across social media and everywhere is that hashtag start by believing. And you know, people talk about, I know around Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April, we talk a lot about I start by believing, you know, and that sort of thing. And I think that right there in and of itself is such a huge, heavy statement, because so many people fear they're not going to be believed. And that is really rooted in the myths and the misled perceptions of what sexual violence is and what causes sexual violence. And you know, we start getting into victim blaming, that most people are so afraid that they're going to be blamed for what happened to them, and many victims do. Like, I mean, people will blame themselves, like, you know, and I mean, you know, it's sort of something that is quite we're even as a society, I think we're really conditioned to victim blame in many different circumstances. So I think, you know, people will often be very scared to disclose just because they're not sure how it's going to be received. They really don't know. So what you might find that people will maybe test the waters a little bit, and that is, you know, it's tricky because they're going to test the waters a little bit and see, like, just how do you respond to this little bit of information.
Right.
And that's where that holding space comes into play, like to give them our full attention and just like, okay, you know, when we do that, we leave space in that silence you were talking about, uncomfortable silence is really okay. It's really okay, and it leaves space. So I think that's a big one, just fear of being believed.
And I think if you would believe your friend no matter what, you know, I got people that I'll help them, you know, well, we're not going to talk about what I've helped people do, but if you're a person who believes women and believes survivors already, just automatically, then it may be kind of hard to believe that somebody's not going to believe this person. I mean, that just sounds like, what are you talking about? Of course I believe. But like Laura said, we're kind of conditioned. You know, maybe somehow a little bit of that just world theory that people kind of get what's coming to them, which is absolutely not true. Because we have what we're wearing, were you drunk, why'd you go over there, that kind of stuff. You know, we really love it to be the guy that jumps out of the bushes. And it's so infrequent that actually happens. And now we have to look at the people who really hurt us. They're usually people we know. And that gets hard because you may know the person who did it, and now it just becomes really complicated. So unfortunately, for the people that we talk to, they're scared. They're scared of that response, and so start by believing is huge. It is so big, and that's our gift to them. Is holding the space and believing them. The first, almost the first thing out of my mouth is I believe you, because it's just so difficult. And the blaming, like I think part of the thing that one of the first things I learned when I got to SARA is that blaming protects the person who's doing the blaming. Like, well, I would never have been wearing that, and I would never have gotten that wasted, and I would have never trusted that person. And then that puts that distance between them and the survivor, and that's real safe for you, Mr. Judgy, Mrs. Judgy, but that person now has been hurt again. And so I think that once I kind of understood, we think we can order our world, and so if we always do everything right, nothing bad will happen. Well, we all know that is not at all true. There are people who are awful, and they seek to hurt people. They are predators, and it makes us feel really safe in this little bubble, but you can't always predict. So I think that once you know that believing is one of the best things you can do, the first things you can do, I think that helps even more with your, I can do this. I can do this if they come to me. I believe you, and I hear you, and we can sit quietly and talk. And just sit. We can just sit.
Because it's really it's not necessary for me to determine all the facts of the situation. It's not up to me to determine, all the who's and the what's and the whens and the wheres. Like, that's not my role. Like, my role is to just be supportive and be there for, the person that I'm talking with. And I think that is, especially when it comes to somebody that we really care about, some people, their natural response and reaction may be to also fix it, but fix it by trying to make this person go report it. So it's like the pressure to report it, or you need to go report it to the police, or you need to go and you need to tell this person, or you need to tell, or we need to do X, Y, and Z to make sure this person is caught. And so that is, where we can start really it can start getting really murky about what am I doing? Am I wanting this person to report it because that's because it makes me feel better to know it's been reported, or is it because that's what is in the person's best interest? That's what they want to do, and that can be really tough.
Very. Because that's probably my nature. Fix it. Let's go do something. Right now, I'll be getting in the car. What are you doing? And to be with a person who doesn't really know what they want to do yet, in the just normal day, that would drive me crazy. So how much more if they've been hurt? And so again, it's not about you, Dina. It's not about you. Tattoo it on my something. I have to remind myself it's not about me. And I think being on the hotline has helped a lot, because I may never see that person ever, and that helps to just say, I'm here, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, how can I help? And just having to let go of their process. Sometimes I get to be kind of full circle, but a lot of times I don't. And I may never hear from that person again, but being there in that space, in that moment, it's humbling. It's so humbling. And so but if I get it right, sometimes it's when I keep my mouth shut.
Well, and we get to exercise trust. Trust that it's like, I can certainly come in and start telling you how to do this, that, and the other to fix this situation. Or I can trust that you're the expert in your own life, and you know better than I what's best for you. So that's the thing. Like, I am not the expert in Dina's life. I am not the one that can tell Dina.
I'm an expert, Laura.
I can tell you, but I mean, how many of you are like me in that when somebody tries to tell you what to do? It usually goes something like this: I'm a grown-ass woman. I do what I want.
I didn't cuss. I didn't cuss.
Yeah.
I didn't cuss first. She did.
I did.
Yeah.
There's a shocker.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm in menopause, so I don't have that much energy to tell you that I'm a grown woman. I'm just gonna let you say what you need to say. But I get it. I've been there. There is something kind of off-putting about it. But I think that sometimes when we are traumatized, we really just don't know what we want to do.
Yeah.
And generally, it's not a crisis. You can actually just sit in that for a little while.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I rev up high. When I'm in a new situation, even coming here, it's a new situation, everybody needs to go to court, and who are we killing today? And it's like, could you just sit down? Take a nap maybe today. I'm a lot better.
Yeah.
But,
well, I think that's, I think there are, we all have such different personalities here in that regard. Like, I tend to be very, like, low key. But that's not always a good thing either, Like, so there are sometimes when things need to be up in a tizzy, and I'm just like, cool.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the cool things about working here is, our executive director is Teresa Berry, and she's got a way of being and seeing things and go, oh yeah. And then our director of clinical services, Kaisha Williams, she's very calm, and so resting Kaisha, and just, and then Laura and I, we found our footing, and we've got very different personalities, but we will tackle. We will get really down. But I think anybody who comes here, and I think this is one of the reasons I'm so humbled and honored to work here, is anybody who comes in the room feels us, and they feel that we care. Even if they get it in different ways, the bottom line is we care about you and what you need. And we've had people who just came in to feel the space. I just wanted to know what it feels like in here. I absolutely respect and honor that. My appointment's not till tomorrow, but I just wanted to feel and to sit and to just be, is it okay for me just to come and sit? And yeah, absolutely. Now, we got a pandemic going on, so you can't do that right now, but what humbles me is that we have been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And we have had the honor of sitting with lots and lots of people, and it saddens me that we are necessary, but I am so grateful that we're here.
Yeah, it's, I don't know that I can even really speak anymore on that. I just want to just so succinctly, eloquently put it there, so, yeah. So, we still, we've got some folks on with us. Looks like Sarah just joined us a few minutes ago. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. If y'all have questions or thoughts or comments, we'd love to hear them. Definitely, we know that, these, what am I trying to say? We know that a lot of this can be really uncomfortable to talk about. And Dina and I have both just kind of approached this in a way of, well, let's just really talk it out. Let's like you said, take the stigma away and kind of unpack all of the things that come with showing up and being present, and even what I think could be even really harder conversations later on. This is definitely something that we want to continue doing. If anything, this is kind of how we operate. Like, we just sit and talk, and so it's like, well, we'll just let people watch us talk. This is what we do.
So your questions will drive future real talks. But I just think we can't avoid what's real, and what's real is we've all been impacted by sexual assault, and it's messy, and it's heartbreaking, and it's awful. But we have to show up for each other, and we are committed, as Sarah, to showing up for you as you help navigate these waters, and we are here to support the supporters. And the more we talk about it, the less likely it is that we'll freeze in that moment.
Yeah. Exactly. I think the more we talk about it, the more it becomes the conversation. I don't know if normalize is the right word, but I'm going to go with it. We normalize the conversation, and then we normalize people coming forward and being believed. We normalize people coming forward and getting the help that they need. We normalize disclosing, and the people responsible for hurting other people are held responsible and held accountable. Not just in our communities, but globally speaking. So, so we're excited to be here. We're excited to be doing this. We'll talk all day long. We'll probably,
I got other things to do, Laura.
Yeah, I know.
So, Laura, do people come stop you in the grocery store and disclose? Are you that person?
So yeah, it depends on the day. Like, a lot of these people will ask me if that class, oh, what do you do? Like, and so there are some days when I tell them what I do, and there are other days when I just can't. Like, there are days that's my self-care.
Yeah.
There are days when I tell them, I teach yoga, and which I do.
Yeah.
But I lead with that, and that is like, oh, I've always wanted to take a yoga class. Cool. Well, here's some places that you can go, and just kind of leave it at that. But if I'm feeling, okay, then, tell them, then people they will disclose their experiences, grocery store, amusement park, wherever you're standing in line.
Right.
So, and we do the same thing we tell the volunteers too. We tell our volunteers, like, if you tell people you volunteer for SARA, people are gonna disclose. They're gonna share their experiences with you, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, that's the holy space. But again, that's also where we get to draw boundaries and and just recognize there's sometimes when I can hold space for that, and other times when I say, I'm so glad that you feel safe telling me. I want to encourage you to contact our 24-hour crisis hotline.
Yeah.
So 981-9352.
Yeah.
So,
I have not perfected that part. I'm out in the community. I do education outreach, and because I'm still relatively new, almost 2 years, I have to learn how to do that. I still end up saying, I work for a rape crisis center, and people go, don't invite her to the party because she's going to talk about the, but also, because I'm Black, I want to make sure that people who look like me feel safe coming to where I work. And so it's kind of a strategic thing that I use, because everywhere I've been, and everywhere I've tabled, everywhere I've been to an event, people have whispered to me that happened to me too. And I'm like, oh my God, and so the more I can smile and say that and have them a card and kind of be that little bridge between them and where I work, I'm doing my job, and I don't really get a day off. And it doesn't mean that I shouldn't, so I'm really listening to you, but I'm also doing that kind of, more people need to know that we're here, and there's a lot of stigma in the Black community about sexual assault, and we just had this amazing, right before COVID, we had this amazing conference called Black Health Matters, and we were trying to break that stigma up a little bit. So I probably will get a little bit more protective of myself, but right now I'm still very vocal about where I work. We got to do this, guys, and we got to do it for each other. And like I said, I gotta keep saying it, Laura. Everybody's been impacted.
Everybody's been impacted. Everybody, whether you know it or not. That's the thing. Whether you realize it or not, statistically, we all know somebody. And everyone has been impacted. And even if you don't even know about somebody personally, you're like, how our community is impacted, and that's a whole nother real talk, but how the community as a whole is impacted because of violence, sexual violence, domestic violence, dating violence, interpersonal violence, gun violence, any kind of violence, racial violence, any of it, all of it. How it impacts our community is just, it's huge. It's huge. And so, sounds like we've got plenty of topics to unpack over the next, 20 years.
So what do you guys want to hear? What do you guys want us to talk about? Go ahead and type it in. You can contact us, and we'll bring it to you. How did we want to do this?
I don't know. We were thinking, we'll twice a month? Once a month?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, we do it every day, but we've got to do
it. I don't need to hear everything we talk about. Okay. So it's scary out there.
But drop us a line, send us a message on our Facebook page. We're on Instagram and Twitter as well. So, hit us up that way, however you need to. Let us know things you're interested in, what questions you have, anything that you'd like to discuss or share, or anything, we're open to hearing it. So, anything else? We're good?
I think we did it.
Sweet. All right. Well, that was our first real talk. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. It was great to see you all on here, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
We did it.